In video number 31, we're going to be solving cube and cube root equations. So what I'd like you to do is take out your homework, which is this sheet here. We're going to do 4 practice problems together, and then you have several practice problems here at the bottom of the sheet. We have 6 practice problems. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. We need the perfect cubes to know. This will make it easier when we try to work out some of the problems. If you don't have these written down, write these down in your notes. You need to memorize them. Okay, so for example, 1 cubed is 1, negative 1 cubed is negative 1. Okay, for cubes we can have negative numbers. When we did squares, perfect squares, okay, we didn't have negatives because a negative times a negative is a positive. Here, a negative times a negative times a negative, we can have negative cubes. Okay, so make sure you write down those first, from negative 6 to positive 6. Okay. And let's go ahead and get started with a look at practice problem number 1. Practice problem number 1, we're just evaluating. We're taking the cube root of 27 plus 15. Well, the cube root of 27 is 3, and 3 plus 15 is 18. That's how we evaluate cube roots. We take the cube root of 27, which gives us 3, add 15 to get 18. Okay? Now let's do some equations. For number 2, we have y minus 3 cubed equals negative 8. To get rid of a cube, we have to take a cube root. Same way that we get rid of a square, let's take a square root. We're going to see a lot of similarities between these. Okay, so we're going to take the cube root of the left side, and then we have to take the cube root of our right side. We take the cube root of this, a cube root cancels out a cube. So we got y, and we're just going to add its opposite, plus negative 3 is equal to the cube root of negative 8 will be negative 2. That's where the perfect cubes come into play that we talked about earlier. Okay, so we got y plus negative 3 equals negative 2. We add 3 to both sides, so we get y is equal to 1. So let's go back here and start with our original equation and plug 1 in here and see if it works out. Reset. Okay, so now plug 1 in for y. Okay, so 1 minus 3. So 1 plus negative 3 is negative 2. Does negative 2, wait, let me make sure. Okay, so that's negative 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8, so it does work out. Okay? Here, I'll show it down here. Negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. Okay, that gives us 4. 4 times negative 2 is equal to negative 8, so it does check out. So the answer is y equals to 1. For number 3, okay, number 3, first off, add its opposite. Then anything underneath outside the radical, we got to move over to the other side. So we're going to add 5 to both sides. So we end up with the cube root of 5x plus 10 is equal to 5. Now to get rid of a cube root, we just cube everything. Okay, so these will cancel out and we'll just be left with 5x plus 10 is equal to 125. Now we add negative 10, add negative 10, just go through that process, a 2-step equation process, and get 115, divide by 5, so we get x is equal to, well, 5 goes into 115, let's work that out, goes here twice, subtract, we get 115, so it's 23, so x is 23 for number 3. Okay. And then let's look here at number 4. We got variables on both sides, and we got cube roots. Okay, so to get rid of cube roots, we have to cube both sides. Okay, we don't have anything outside the radical, so we can do this step first. So we end up with 2x plus 3 is equal to x plus 12. analysis variables on both sides. We add negative x to both sides. So we end up with x plus 3 is equal to 12. I'll move the 3 over here by adding its opposite. So we end up with x is equal to 9. So if I plug in 9 here, I should get my answer. And let's go back here and check. Well, 2 times 9 is 18, plus 3 is 21. And then here, if I have 9 plus 12, I get 21. So I'm looking at the cube root of 21 for both sides, so it does balance. Okay. Now, what I'd like you to do is pause the video, write these problems down in these boxes on your handout, and go ahead and solve those. And when you're done solving them, go ahead and check your work. Okay. Now that you've unpaused the video, I assume that you've done those problems and you can check your work here. Okay. Take a minute, check over what we've done or have done, and if you have any questions, write them down and bring them to class tomorrow. We're going to be working with cube and cube root. Okay. Thank you for doing your homework tonight.